I started from nothing, never knew where my next meal was coming. But I transformed my life, I stay one step ahead. Mindset of disruption, I own the edge. This is the ThrillCast, where I bring the wisdom you need. Everyone is selling knowledge, I give mine away for free. I'm as real as it gets, you either love or hate me. Best believe I'm major league, Bill Hines, that's me. This is the ThrillCast. This is the ThrillCast. This is the ThrillCast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the ThrillCast. We are excited to have the driver of the number 51 Ryan Beat Motorsports Pro 2 Chevrolet, Ryan Beat. So, Ryan, man, it's been great to have you on. And, yeah, just welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be here and to be a part of this. Always wanted to be on your show, and yeah, excited to be here.
So, Ryan, I see that you're, obviously we'd like to get you in person, or at a track somewhere, but it looks from what's behind you, and if, our listeners can go on YouTube and see this video, but for those on the audio, man, he has quite an impressive shop. Ryan, tell us about that shop behind you. Like, what do you got going on back there?
Yeah, we got a lot going on here. Obviously, we build and produce a lot of the short course trucks now to date. We're one of the, few builders that are building short course trucks still. So on top of that, I race. We also filled a couple vehicles for a couple other drivers in the sport of short course, as well as we run some micro sprint programs. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
That
it's a family program.
Training. Yep, for sure. The kids are here hanging
out. Family program. Yep.
But so we run some micro sprint programs for a lot of drivers out here in North Carolina. That a good buddy of mine, Mike Carver, he runs the micro sprint side of things, and then we have the short course side of things in the shop that where we're building and producing trucks, and as well as fielding them, in the Lucas or Champ Off-Road Series now.
Oh, so you fabricate everything. So they're like, you're building the cages, you're putting the motors in, you're just like from like kind of nuts to bolts, everything, right?
Yeah. So we fabricate all of our parts. We build all the chassis in-house, all the rear end housings, A-arms, suspension components, pretty much everything that has to do from taking raw metal material and turning it into a race car, we do here in-house.
That's awesome. And so for most of our listeners, well, probably most of them, because it's in the racing community, probably do know. But for those that don't know, Ryan is a two-time champion in the Championship Off-Road Series. And formerly it was the Lucas Oil Off-Road Series. Yeah, the LOORRS one. Yep. So you've raced Crandon. You actually won your first race at Crandon. The first one that you ever did, right?
No, that was just like my first big championship I won at Crandon. I won a world championship there in 2017 in the Pro Lite class.
The Pro Lite class, yeah. That must have been pretty amazing. When that's like the mecca of off-road. Like to win at Crandon, it's like you can't get any better than that. That's like the Super Bowl for off-road, right?
Yeah, so it's basically equivalent of winning Daytona, you know what I mean, or winning a Daytona race. That when you go there, the whole goal is to try to win, and like I said, it's our crown jewel. So we had been close to winning championships before, and then we went to that race and just dominated that weekend. We had the setup on point and really put it all together and won a world championship there. So it was pretty cool racing against everybody across the United States. Your best of your best in short course was there racing, and we were able to put it down and win.
So from that, obviously, we kind of skipped ahead, and I kind of like to give a transition, but you started at a very young age in speed, I would call it. Like you were addicted to going fast and being crazy a little bit. And so tell us about like how'd you get into racing? I know you started with a dirt bike, and then just what did you have crazy parents like you that just said, "Here, son, go"?
So I grew up in a racing family. My dad raced dirt bikes as a kid, and then went on to racing sprint cars and midgets, and then raced some pavement late model races. My one uncle raced pavement late model, the Southwest Tour, My other uncle was a mechanic for factory Kawasaki motocross. So I grew up around racing. So for me, naturally, at 3 and 4 years old, all I knew and wanted to do was racing, right? Cars, motorcycles, whatever. So for my 4th birthday, I got a little 4-zinger Yamaha quad and started riding that. And then for my 5th birthday, I got my first dirt bike and started riding dirt bikes and racing dirt bikes shortly after, and snowballed and haven't looked back since. And, I've been racing since I was 5 years old. I'm 36 now, so as you can do math, we've been racing for a while.
Still a kid though to me. And so how many bones have you broken on the dirt bike?
I honestly haven't even counted. You know what I mean? I've broke both wrists, both hands, both arms, both legs, both collarbones. Yeah, so it's been a few.
So what years did you win the championships in the off road?
I started winning championships in 2017. I won the world championship at Crandon, and then 2018, 2019, I backed it up with 2 Pro Lite championships, one in 2018, one in 2019, at the region at the national level in the Lucas Oil Off Road Series.
Yeah, you went back to back those years, right?
Yep, back to back.
Nice. So what is it? Actually, this season you actually just came back from. Hold on a second. Oh, King of the Hammers. So is that like the official start of the season for you? You would say?
Yeah, it was for us this year. In the past years, King of the Hammers has always been like more of a desert race where they do rock crawling races and whatnot. And this year they decided to hold a pretty big short course race, threw up some big money for that race. And so we decided to make the trek out there and went from North Carolina to California, which was a very long trip for a race, but we're glad we made it because we went out there and won.
But was that sanctioned by Champ Off Road, the championship?
No, that was
right.
sanctioned by GAF, Great American Short Course Series.
Okay.
They're the ones that took over what Lucas Oil Off Road used to do on the West Coast. So they're kind of the West Coast series.
Okay.
Champ runs more of the Midwest and East Coast series. But they put on this race. They threw up a pretty big purse and got a bunch of us to travel out there and come race that race.
So it was a points race then too?
No, it wasn't a points race.
No points race. I was going to say,
yep.
You'd be in the lead for championship. You might have to go out
there. It would be nice.
Yeah. So you actually put it on pole and you dominated. Yep. And you won that race. And, and much like we'll get to Stadium Super Trucks, they invert the field. And when we say you put it on pole with SST or whatever, we always joke because it's usually the slowest person, and then they invert. So you actually legitimately, but being the fastest, put it on pole. So congrats to that.
It was cool. We went out and we had practice, and we were about 2 seconds faster than the rest of the field, which isn't very common. So we were, going really good. And then we went out for qualifying, kind of did the same thing. I don't think it was quite 2 seconds. It was probably a second and a half after qualifying. So with that, there was, X amount of trucks. And basically with that, they put the top 6 times in a hat, and the guy who qualifies fastest has to pull a pill. So I did that. And unfortunately, of course, we pulled a 6. So they inverted 6 cars. So I had to go to the 6th position to start the race and work my way through from there. So it wasn't no easy task, especially on a track that's, pretty narrow and pretty technical. So it was fun. It was a good race. We had a great time out there. Learned a lot, getting ready to go into the season. I've been personally working on myself and training very hard this off season in multiple vehicles, go-karts, the micro sprints. So it came together, and I'm glad all the hard work and training's paid off. And now we're ready to get the real season underway here for us and start racing for some points and championship.
Actually, in SST, it's funny. We used to pull a pill and then go invert 3, 4, 5 or whatever. But then I don't know, it was probably in 2015 or 16. That's when it was the hell with it. Robbie was like, we're just going to invert the whole damn field. And some guys hate that, but some guys like Sheldon Creed and the real off-road guys, they love that shit. And they just fine, I'll just work my way through the field and pass. And then there's passing points, and which can equate to, money after, with the way the standings work for the weekend, the moto weekend. But yeah, so what type of prize money? We actually had last episode, well, a couple episodes ago, we had Davey Hamilton Jr., and he does that sprint car series and stuff like that. And he was saying like he just won a weekend prize that was like $6,000, but there's 50 races a year. So if you can stack them up, there's some good money in it. But like what are the range of prize money in like the Champ Off-Road Series?
I'll be honest, it sucks. So
Okay.
a normal weekend points payout or prize money payout for a Champ Off-Road is terrible. It's like $1,500 to win a Pro 2 class, which that's not where the money comes from. Obviously, from sponsorship and the TV time.
Yep, exactly.
That we receive. So the payout's not that great. Obviously, to be an off-road, you got to do it for the love of it. It's not about getting rich. It's not about, NASCAR fame like, you see with NASCAR and IndyCar and all these awesome series. But off-road's more like the passionate enthusiasts, the people that really do it because they love it. Because, like I said, there's no money really in it. You know what I mean? So you really got to love it to do it. When we went out to King of the Hammers, it paid $5,000 to win. So that was kind of cool. Crandon puts on a huge purse every year. They put on the biggest purse that we see all year long, and it's like $50,000 to win Crandon. So
nice.
Obviously, Crandon being the crown jewel, there's lots of money up for grabs there, and the purse is really good. It makes it worthwhile going out there and doing that race. But slowly over the years, you've seen the purses kind of grow and grow. Lucas Oil had us, before they decided to close their series, we had really killer purses with them. It paid like $7,500 per day to win. So this new series, they're starting out. They got great intentions. It's starting to grow. But really, where our big money races come from, come from Crandon and some of those other tracks in the Midwest that really put up big purses.
No, that's the one that Davey was in, that $6,000 one, that was an anomaly. Typically, it's like 1,000, 2,000 or something like that. But again, if you're doing them every week, you know that can add up. And obviously, there's sponsorship money and TV time and marketing, things like that. But what do you think these series, like all of them that you're involved with, can do better to increase the prize money? Because I think too, if there was that more prize money, I think they get more participation because, like, let's face it, like, you've been great at marketing and attracting, not only sponsors, but talent. At the end of the day, your sponsors, they want to see the car win. And, you have that shop. And, I remember when you didn't have a shop, and then now you do. And because, what you're putting together such a good program for drivers that want to, like, not every driver is just going to say, okay, I can just get in a truck and do it myself. Like, you have all the tools necessary for a young driver to come in, you plug them in, and they're going to get in a safe truck, and you're going to give them they're not going to lose because of the truck. Okay. The person that goes into, Ryan Beat Motorsports, they're going to lose because of their lack of talent or they did something wrong, but you're going to give them a truck that can win because you've proven it. You've won multiple championships, and you win a ton of races in your career already. And I know you're going to win more. So what do you think, like, the series can do better to attract more dollars?
I really think SST has like the best platform, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Hence why I'm kind of headed in that direction to race, more SST races. Robbie really has it figured out, and Robbie's done a great job at, first and foremost, a lot of these brands, they get involved with racing and sponsoring race cars for the B2B side of things, the B2B business that they can create and the business that they can obtain out of being involved in motorsports. So with that, I think a big part of it comes from, the facilities. I think starting with facilities is huge, right? You got to have a nice facility that runs itself. So you look at F1, right? The facilities are amazing, right? There's amenities, there's, just done properly. I think where short course goes wrong and goes astray is, some of the times we end up racing in cornfields, but let's be honest with it. Which isn't a bad thing. I
hate those races. I hate those races. Like, we did that one time in Australia, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna race here," and I'm like, "I'm not going." And they were like, "Stop being a diva." I'm like, "I'm not going." I literally had a different driver because, in SST you can, for a couple races, like I think it's depending if it's like a 12 race season, you could do like 2 races where you can I could say, "Hey, Ryan Beat's gonna race this race for me," but still get points for the truck.
Yeah.
So I had someone else do it because I was like, I'm not going to that race. It's like flying halfway around the world to race in front of 3 people. Nah, I'll stay home.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of where it's at, honestly, with short course, unfortunately, right now. There's, 4 or 5 really good tracks that we go to, but then there's a couple of them that are complete waste of time and completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think as far as what Robbie's got going, he does it right. It's the perfect platform with SST to bring in some of these bigger brands. And you know what I mean? We all want sponsorship, but at this day and age, with the expensive as motorsports is, we have to give these sponsors reasons to spend money with us. It can't just be because there's a race car going around a track with their logo on it. You know what I mean? They got to be able to go to an event, meet with potential clients, wine and dine their current customers and introduce them to, their brand. And I think a lot of it that I've learned over the past couple of years is a lot of these bigger decision makers, we'll call it, will go to these races and they'll invite, a potential client or somebody that they want to be doing business with. They'll invite their kids, and while the kids are enjoying watching the race and enjoying all the cool side of things, they get to talk business and they get to somehow figure out how to do business and make money out of it. So I think first and foremost, we have to focus on creating facilities that lend themselves to where business can be done and generate, revenue generated. I think that's where short course kind of sometimes misses the boat, what I wish they would do a little better job of, but you know what I mean? It is what it is, and they can only do so much. At Robbie's races, I've really been impressed with, the sheer fact of, fans and the number of fans that show up. Like when you go to a cornfield half the time, I really don't want this to come out wrong, but when you go to some of those races, you don't get the draw that you do at like an IndyCar race or a NASCAR race where there's 100,000 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When we go to some of these races, our fan count gets down to 1,500, 2,000 people. And for me to go race a $250,000 truck around a track in front of 1,500 people just doesn't do it for me.
It's not exciting. I was telling somebody a story about that where when we go to Adelaide, Australia, that race, and even Gold Coast, and there's 300,000 people in the stands, and like typically with the engine going on in our trucks, you can't hear that. But when they go nuts, like the year you probably saw it, it's now like 170 million views. Sheldon Creed flips over at the finish line, and like you're crossing the finish line, and I heard through the truck, like you felt the crowd. It was palpable. Like and so it's like, okay, I get it now. And like that I really think so. You see videos like off-road videos or videos with SST that can do those. Like we have more videos in Stadium Super Trucks that have gone past 10, 15, 20, 50 million, 100 million than IndyCar, F1, you name it. Like our following is great. I really think that, as a series and even off-road, whether it be, some of your shots in the Champ Off-Road Series, that like I'm abbreviating. I don't want to say championship. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's what we all say.
And I was talking to one of my videographers, and he's coming out to Long Beach because he's like, Bill, this is like gold mine. Like, think about these influencers that just dance on TikTok and they get like 10 million views. Like the shit we got is amazing. And I don't think, as a whole in the off-road community and SST that we do enough and put out enough content. Like nobody wants to watch a whole race. Well, the diehards want to watch the whole race, but how like those small clips that show the action and show what it is, I think as a value add to even all of the sponsors, I think that's where you can set that apart because, you want the business to business, but you also do want to see like a cool advertising like Continental Tires, they're in SST. They got some cool shots in the past 2-3 years ever since they came on as primary, And in Australia, you have like all the different oil companies that did it and a couple other companies, and they got some cool videos. But out there, Fox Sports does Fox Sports does the camera work there, and it's phenomenal. So I personally think that the marketing teams for all of these series in the off-road, just if they got just a little bit better and really like just made a decision to just pump out content. Like even at your shop, I see people working behind there, you know, not that you want to give them the special sauce of like, hey, what you're doing and, you know, like how you're adjusting shocks and dampers and engines and shit like that. Like you don't want to give them away the secrets, but just to have those videos, I think so many people would love to see like, hey, what the fuck goes on? And we're going to have an SST mechanic on soon. Like what goes on from the beginning? Like they don't understand the hard work and how much money is being spent on actually putting together a championship team like yours.
Yeah, I think that's probably a very big misconception amongst racing and off-road in general, right? And that's where I'm learning, you know, the difference between like off-road and SST versus like, say, circle track or round around racing.
Yeah.
And it's like almost comical. We laugh about it in the shop because like the stuff that they get away with in circle track racing, and it's so minute and so easy. I'll put it that way. I don't want to downplay it by any means, but the maintenance that goes into those vehicles versus like what goes into ours and what ours go through is like absolutely
brutal.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like
you know what I mean? It's brutal. Like our trucks fly 25, 30 feet in the air, 100 feet long, 200 feet long, and are still doing, you know, 130 miles an hour like we do at Nashville or whatever. So it's crazy to see what our vehicles do versus theirs, and the amount of time that goes into ours. You know, a lot of those guys come by my shop because we're here in NASCAR country, and like, dude, this is so crazy. It's so much work. And it's like, well, yeah, our trucks leave the ground. You know what I mean? So it's funny in that aspect. We all joke about it and give each other a hard time. But at the end of the day, in all forms of racing, there's just a ton of work that goes into it to go fast, and that costs money. And in order to get that type of money, we have to, you know, be able to justify to these sponsors as to why they need to write these checks and give them a platform that makes sense. You know, like you said, nowadays, you know, you get these TikToks and these social media things that go on that create, you know, hundreds of thousands of views, but so does a truck. So does a truck being going through a corner,
way
crazy
more
crashes like Sheldon. You know, it creates way more. I just think I think all the racing organizations really need to take a look at what's going on and kind of reconfigure what they're trying to do here in terms of, we understand we're racing, but at the end of the day, we're marketing. We need to be a marketing company.
Yeah. And it's funny. I like to say that at the racetrack, the only person that should really be consumed with the race is the driver, and everyone else around the drivers. Okay. Now you're in a different thing because you wear multiple hats. Because like I've seen you work on a truck, so you're like a mechanic, you're the team owner, and you're the driver. Okay. And I'm still not sure which one you're better at because you're fucking good at all of them. Like you're really good. So like, you know, you're definitely going to have a career after you retire driving. So for that, I say the driver needs to concentrate on the driving, and everyone else around them needs to concentrate on putting on a show for the fans and the sponsors, and then doing that business to business, the introductions and stuff like that. But once the driver's done with the race, that's when they have to switch and be, okay, I'm a marketer. That's where you have to do the social media clips and, you know, and talking and, you know, and just, you know, meeting with fans. And like, that's the other thing about SST that I know is like kids will come into us, and even off-road, we'll put them in our trucks and we'll show them a good time because it is family friendly. And, you know, it really is about the fans and the kids. So things like that.
Yeah, that's huge. You know, that's a big part of it is including the families and making them feel involved. And, you know, to touch on a point, like I probably spend just as much time figuring out the marketing side of things and doing that side of stuff business wise as I do trying to figure out how to go faster as a racer. You know what I mean? So it's just as important nowadays. It's just as heavy. Hell, you know, marketing and producing media for sponsors is now just as much important and costly as it is to operate a race vehicle. So it's huge, it's necessary, it's important. And you know, I enjoy doing it. I think SST has really kind of gone to another level with off-road racing, right? In the 80s and 90s, you had, you know, Mickey Thompson Racing. And I think SST and what Robbie's done has been a perfect, you know, combination of what they did, you know, with Mickey Thompson Racing versus, where short course is at nowadays. I think that there's a happy medium that we all need to get the formula figured out and go start having some fun again in stadiums.
Yeah, I think in 2023 it'll be a good year for stadium super trucks, and just because it's like kind of be like a full year past the COVID and the reduced schedules, and IndyCar and NASCAR want to see fans coming back more, because we're like secondary to them, but they've actually figured out we are second to them. Indy Lights isn't, or Indy Pro, or any of those other series, or IMSA. Like, we are the second. Like, I've talked to all the promoters from like, Kim Green, Kevin Savory, the guy that runs, they run St. Pete and Toronto and Mid-Ohio, and even the promoters from Road America and Nashville and, Long Beach, Jim McCallan. Like, they love SST because, as Robbie likes to call it, the fans become waffle bellies because they're so pressed up against the fence that their stomachs get a waffle belly. And like when we can, like IndyCar in Long Beach, we'll probably have a race after IndyCar goes on Sunday, and that keeps the fans there, and they're buying more stuff. But you'll look, the crowd's packed. Like, they don't leave. Like, after the main show, like, it's almost like, okay, well, who's the headliner? But yeah, IndyCar is, and I still think IndyCar is a great form of racing. It's the most competitive form of open wheel to me, the F1. But talk about, let's just really quick talk about SST, and like, man, like, you got an SST, and then how about, you did, I think, well, was Nashville your first race? No, Nashville.
No, Nashville is the second one I've ever got to do. I got to do, what was it?
Mid-Ohio? Yeah, Circuit of the Americas. Yeah, that you did that one, yeah.
Yep.
That was
a great race. For the first time.
And you got on the podium, your first race.
Yeah, podium the first race, which was really cool. I'd never even driven the SST,
which is rare.
There, and was just like, all right, let's try to figure this thing out. And
that was 2019, right? That was 2019. I remember coming up to you and going, "Yo, you did amazing," because most new timers either flip, roll, or end up in a wall, and it always happens. And you see it. So you've seen it since. Look, when you went to Nashville, how many new timers? Like, it was just the mechanics. I feel sorry for them. I'm like, oh shit. And the new guys usually there's a lot of new guys in Long Beach coming up, but man, how sketchy is coming down the hill both ways in Nashville in our trucks.
Yeah, it's fast. It's like, I've never gone that fast in an off-road truck, and especially like, you figure these cars that are, IndyCar, NASCAR, whatever, they're 2 inches off the ground. Our ride height is like 15 inches off the ground. So you start getting that airplane effect. When you start going so fast, the bodies just start catching air, and you can feel the truck start pulling the nose of the truck up, like lift, like it's going to.
It's a reverse lift,
like an airplane. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy, what happens. So when you're coming down like Nashville, coming down through there, I don't even know what we're going. We're going 130 or whatever we're going.
They say 155-ish.
Yeah, that is insane.
That's fucking Well, Road America is. I think going up, because I think you're right. I think we're around like 135 to 140-ish because we have to go up the hill. So, but when we're at Road America in the back, we're down that back stretch. We're hitting, like, especially in the draft, 155, 165 sometimes.
Dude, that's so fast. Yeah. So I mean, when you're coming down Nashville and you're coming to that right-hander, which in an off-road truck, they lean and they roll, right? So if you're coming down there, imagine going 130, 140, whatever it is, and the truck starts to tip over. And now your head is, 3 feet off the ground, and the truck's going, and you're going 130 miles an hour, and the thing's shaking and wobbling and getting all kinds of crazy. It makes it puts a whole new meaning to pucker factor. And it's what excites me to do it. You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot of stuff inside the truck that gets you to the point where you're kind of borderline scared but laughing because it's fun. That's SST. So Nashville's fun. Coda was rad. Down the front straightaway in the draft, you're hauling the mail there. It's just cool. You're
gonna love Long Beach though. You're gonna Long Beach, the front stretch, and then there's 2 back sections that you get a ton of speed, and there's a lot. Yeah, I'll show you some tricks there too, especially that hairpin. Yeah, and then you're going to be fine. I think you're probably one of my favorites for a podium. So, That's good. Don't shit the bed on that. So.
Yeah, no, it'll be cool. It'll be like my third weekend doing SST, and I plan on doing more and more as the years, come.
Nice.
My plan and goal is my plan is to do 2 this year. If we can find funding, I'll probably do 3 or 4. But for sure 2 we have funding for.
So
And then
back
going
to
into next year-
Nashville? You think Nashville you'll do? Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, Nashville, I think, Nashville's only 2 years old now. Well, this will be the 3rd year, and they've really done a good job. I mean, I hate all the walking. It's so, so I'm lazy. I don't want to be, walking to, where's the food? Way over there. Shit. So I try to take someone's golf cart or something like that, or a little scooter or something. But if you could do, I think a Mid-Ohio or a Road America, I think you'd crush those just based on seeing your style. I think you really would crush those.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to do some more. And I just thought Nashville was so fun. Same thing with Long Beach, but Nashville especially, it's such a tourist destination. Yeah. And there's so much fun going on there. So, I think that's a big part of the equation with making these series successful, like we talked about earlier, is being in destinations that, there's an airport within 10 minutes of the track, right? That's
yep.
People don't want to get land and then drive 2 hours.
2 hours.
Mm-hmm. There's hotels. There's
Bristol.
Nice places to eat. There's a nightlife where you can go out and have a couple drinks and have fun. That at the end of the day, we're racing because it's fun. Yes, it has become a business for a lot of us, but it still has to be fun. It has to make sense. So when you want to bring sponsors and show them a good time, they want to be able to have fun too. So Nashville, I just can't say enough about Nashville. And,
oh my God.
Events like Long Beach. It's epic. That's why motorsports is successful at events like that.
I like the Nashville, all the bachelorette parties that were going on.
Yeah, it's always a good time. Good people watching for sure.
Oh my God. I actually saw they're pedaling the I don't know what it was. It was a thing with 12 women pedaling, drinking, and it crashed. So it was is that drunk driving, or I don't know what it is. It's like a thing on wheels.
What's that considered?
So, hey, let's go backtrack. So, your team last year has actually made news, I'd say worldwide news, because it was it the Pro 2 Spec? You had the first female ever to win a race in and again, if apologies if I'm not getting the names right, because I'm come from the SST world. And so, yeah, talk about your driver that came on board last year. And man, so one, it took balls as a team owner to, let's face it, put a female in the truck. And then 2, to give her the tools and everything to where she became the first female to ever win that race. So, and I'm sure you pissed off a lot of boys or men in that field, and hurting some people's feelings. But I think that's what Ryan Beat Motorsports does. You put out these banger trucks.
Yeah. So last year, me and Chevrolet teamed up to field what they call Pro Spec. It's basically a Pro Lite chassis, but with a V6 engine and a 4-speed manual gearbox in it. So it's a challenging truck to drive. There's a lot of momentum. You're shifting across an H pattern, shifter. It's no joke to drive. So we teamed up and we thought, let's give a female driver a shot to come race with the boys, right? Lately there's a lot of, female and women empowerment going on. So let's be a part of that. Let's help someone. Let's give someone a shot. So we gave Gray Ledbetter a shot, who's been an up and coming off-road racer for a couple of years now that I've kept an eye on, and thought she was doing really good. She was really good in side-by-side. And we gave her a shot, and it paid out. It worked out very well. She went out and won the championship, and she was actually the first female driver to ever win a professional motorsports race. With that, we made Apple News. It was crazy headlines, and thankful that we were able to accomplish that and do that. And it was awesome. It was so cool to be able to be a part of that and to put it together, and everything came together. So it was such a great time. Thankful that we had the opportunity to do it, and we're actually continuing that program this year.
Nice. So if you're a new driver and you're in side by sides or something like that, like, how would a new driver want to reach out to your team to say, hey, do I have what it takes? Like, how do you do it? Do you just do tryouts, or do you have like people that scout the talent and watch and say, you know what, I want them on my team? Or like, how does one driver like find and get to race with Ryan Beat Motorsports?
Yeah, so we have a couple options. Obviously, I'm the, I guess the guy in charge here, so I get to kind of make those final calls, and so I obviously keep a big eye out on up and coming talent and drivers that are coming up. We also have a program where people can, if they're not sure if they want to do this or not, they can come and rent a truck for a weekend and they, try it out. They get the full experience, kind of like a arrive and drive, just like Robbie Gordon does with SST, where you can come and race and have a good time, for a certain price and see what you think, see what you want to do. And from there we go, we decide, what the best route is for that driver. We, over the past years, we've had several of those programs that have worked out and turned into be really good deals for the drivers as well as Ryan Beat Motorsports. Some of those drivers have come, they've moved on and went on to win races. So it's cool. We've done our part in giving back, to the short course community and really creating drivers that are successful once they move beyond us. So they usually leave here better than what they came with better equipment for sure.
Absolutely. So, do you ever run any like test days? Like, how Robbie does test days, or do you like, does the series or you go out and rent a short course track and then do some test days?
Yeah. So we rent, we go out and we rent a Cran, and we rent all the tracks prior to us racing them. And usually those days is when the test days are, when we set up, test sessions for drivers that want to come out and race or try it and give it a shot. Those are the days that we do that with.
All right, so I'm going to do, like, me and you will set up something. I'll bring out my film crew, and we're going to film it. I'll go in and I'll test, and, you'll just fit into my race gear and helmet, and then I'll look really good. And it'd be like,
good? Okay.
This is easy. Look at it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'll come out. I want to test, and I want to show, the listeners and the viewers, like, what it is in a day in the life of somebody. Like, just pretend I'm going to be brand new into this and I have no driving experience. And if you watch me drive, you're behind me, you'll be like, yeah, he doesn't have any experience. So.
No,
anyway.
It'll be good. I'm excited. I know we've talked about this for a little bit, and I've always wanted to put you in a short course truck. And, I think it's time that we do it. We got some testing coming up here really quick at the end of April, and we'll get you in the seat, get you going, and see what you think of short course. Obviously, give all the fans and your listeners a shot to because it's easy for me to explain it, right? It's something I do every day. It's something I live, breathe, eat, sleep.
Yeah.
But for somebody like yourself to come in that's never done it, to really experience and get the full experience of what it is and how cool and unique these trucks are, I think you're going to have a whole new eye-opening experience, as to what short course is. Now, short course for me is by far, I think it's cooler than SST, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Just in the factor of what it is, it's the mixture of motocross, it's the mixture of NASCAR. Yeah. It's got so many cool aspects to it. But like I said, you got to be a diehard fan and someone who absolutely loves it to do it, because, it doesn't have, the nice facilities that we see with IndyCar and NASCAR. It doesn't have, the airports that are 10 minutes from the track. Most of these tracks are a little further out, a little bit of a drive. But when you go to these races, the fans that show up, like when we show up to Crandon, there are 65, 70,000. I'm talking diehard fans that you don't even know exist. Like, if you've ever seen videos from Red Bud motocross race, it's the same demographic of fans that show up to Red Bud that show up to the short course races. So it's really cool in that fact. But it'll be cool for you to get an inside look at how things operate and how it goes. Just the difference in sports, it's really cool.
I've never been to Crandon, and I know SST, we raced there one year. I didn't make that one, but I think that was 2019 as well, but I didn't show up to that one. And actually, I think, Sheldon ran for me there. And I think every truck broke, but like Gavin's, I think Gavin won. But other than that, I want to come out. I want to experience it. I still will probably think that SST is the best just because I'm a diehard, loyal Robbie Gordon ist, as they say. I think Robbie's right about now he's gonna hurt Polaris and all these other people's feelings making these UTVs that everyone said he couldn't do. But you've raced against Robbie Gordon, you know him, you're a friend of him. I'm a friend of him. Yeah. I've raced against him. I'll never count Robbie Gordon out. Like never,
no, ever.
Never. Like and same thing like you. It's like somebody's like if they're gonna go up against Ryan Beat Motorsports. I mean, his fucking last name is Beat. That means he's gonna probably. And I've said it since the first day I met you. I'm like, he's probably gonna beat you. You know. So.
Yeah. No. Robbie is one of those people that, like you said, you can't ever count out. Robbie is one of those people that if it takes his every last breath to make something happen that he says he's going to make happen, he's going to do it. And I give him so much credit and props for that.
Fuck yeah.
That's part of the problem, or not, I shouldn't say problem. That's part of the reason I want to be a part of SST on a bigger level. I've talked with Robbie a lot in the recent time of coming over to SST full time. Not only as a racer, but kind of trying to help steer the ship. I know he's got a lot of things going. Obviously, I've been able to build a pretty successful short course business. Yep. And I think I could help take SST to that next level of being there a little more full time with not only as a racer, but as, you know, helping run the thing, steer the ship. Robbie's got a lot going on these days. And, you know, I think SST is the perfect platform to end up with off-road racing where it needs to be. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I love SST. I love Robbie. He's been such a good, influential person to me. And has been such a good friend. And that there's a reason that I'm wanting to invest in, obviously, being involved in SST.
Yep. Yeah, I like to tell people when people say, oh, you know, like, you know, a couple friends in racing that I have, they'll be like, oh, I heard that person's a dick or that person's a dick. And I'm always like, when I hear that, I'm like, well, what'd you do to them? And then I say, and then even with Robbie, a lot of times in the races, they're like, man, he was like in 4th or 5th place. And then within 2 laps, he's in first. I was like, listen, in business and in racing, Robbie can find a gear that most people don't have. So like the worst thing that his competitors or detractors and fans can do is go and say, oh, I don't think, or, oh, that UTV thing is smoke and mirrors, or, oh, it's a scam, or, oh, it's this. You're just fucking fueling that guy to prove you wrong. So, and I know I do that. I know you do that. Like, just, you know, we have something else in us that we want to prove them wrong. And the one thing I'm excited for you, I think this year we will have an actual dirt race with SST.
Yep.
And so one, the Sheldon Creeds of the world, our defending champion Gavin Harlan, you know, all of the guys that come from the dirt like you, they kind of acclimate themselves so much quicker to SST. And that's why I knew, like, at Coda, I was like, okay, this guy's going to do really well because, you know, your pedigree, you're champion, and, you know, you're not like, you know, a car guy. Like a car guy, like in your off-road car, like truck, you're used to it rolling a little bit. If you're in an open-wheel car or like a sport car, the first time you get up on like 3 wheels, like they're sitting it down so quick. They're like, you know, you couldn't get a grease pin up their sphincter. It's like their butthole tightens up so much. It's like, what the fuck was that? I was going to flip. I'm like, no, that's where you got to just floor it. Like if you get, and then to translate that, it takes a little, I know, like even Matt Brabham took like a few races to get comfortable with the truck before he's like, man, that first race, I almost shit my pants because, you know, like you said, in an open wheel car, he's used to it's downforce and he's stuck and, you know, it's on rails. With us, we're not on rails. So I think in an off-road, and you know how we have the big gap jumps in the in the dirt races, I think you're just going to eat that shit up. I think it's like that's why Robbie does so good there, the Sheldons of the world. Like that's when we do that, when we do one of those races and you actually then we're going to have to bring you on again and say, now what do you think of SST?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be very similar to your off-road because it is off-road, but it's a mix. So you're going from off-road, you're going to asphalt, and then but you also have 50,000 fans there.
I think the ultimate, honestly, would be, and my goal over the next couple of years, working with Robbie and working with SST and whatnot, is to get SST back into stadiums. I want to follow Feld or, you know, the Supercross series or Monster Jam from stadium to stadium.
Even the Nitro Rallycross, one of those things, you know.
Yeah, like we need to get back into stadiums and race in front of, 50, 80,000 people on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my personal goals is to help Robbie be able to do so. We've had multiple conversations, and that's the goal. You know what I mean? That's where I think it's headed. And I think that's where I think between me and Robbie, and I think you probably outsider looking in, knowing me and Robbie, if that's what me and Robbie set our goal out to be, I think we're going to accomplish it.
That'll happen. And as a driver, I'm going to love it too. And my sponsors will love it. And actually, right close to you, it's not a stadium, but you could kind of say it's a stadium race. We did a race a couple years ago at Charlotte Motor Speedway where, it was dirt and asphalt. And we didn't do the dirt. In Bristol, I was hoping they had dirt there, but it was asphalt, and we're on the banking. And now that we know that we can do an oval, and then cut in the infield like that, I mean, that opens up a lot to us, because when like every driver I talk to, well, the ones that didn't crash all the time and the new ones that shouldn't have been there, so anyway, I won't say that. But yeah, I think it opens up to a lot more. But Ryan, I think I don't want to keep you too much longer. And basically, I just want to give this last couple minutes for you to talk about your sponsors and where they can find them and what they're selling, and so we can promote them. I know you got your hat on there, and Bill Steen is and all your other sponsors.
They've been our sponsor for 6 years now, and they just such a cool brand to work with. They've been around for such a long time. They're such an iconic brand in the motorsports industry, and they're full-fledged in off-road now. They're developing UTV shocks. They're obviously on our off-road truck shocks, and I will be debuting Bill Stein shocks on the SST truck at Long Beach, which is really cool. So I'm excited to be able to announce that.
Whoa! Wait a minute. You're gonna have different shocks than everyone else?
Yes. Oh,
fuck. Oh man. All right. Now my odds for Ryan just went up.
No.
Fuck.
We just took what Robbie does and took a base and we built some Bill Steins with that base setup that they run in the SST truck. So they won't be any different.
Bullshit.
But,
I don't believe you.
I
do not believe you. I think they're going to be way better. Just like when we went to Continentals, everyone's like, oh, like when we went to Continentals, half the field was running Toyos, and I was like, I want the Continentals because if it's dirt, I thought the Toyos were going to be a little bit better, but in the rain and on asphalt, I was like, the Continentals to me were better, and it was proven that. But I think your shocks are going to.
Yeah, so I'm a Toyo guy. Been sponsored by Toyo for quite a long time now.
Toyos are great, like dirt to me, and dirt and like I love Toyos on like that's why I wish I could pick for which one,
Yeah, for sure. No, and it's we'll see what we show up to Long Beach with, whether I'm on Toyos or Continental.
I think you would be allowed to use Toyos. I think you can pick.
Yeah, so we'll see. But obviously, Toyo's been a big part of our program.
Yep, they're a great company.
Yeah, Pennzoil. I just signed with Pennzoil this year, so that's a big one for us.
Nice.
We were with Lucas Oil for a long time, and thank them for all the years of support. But with growth comes change, and we felt it was time to move on and expand our horizon. And we're now with Pennzoil. So Pennzoil is the official oil partner of Ryan Beat Motorsports and me moving forward. They'll be with us at SST as well.
Nice.
We did a wheel deal with Tremor Wheels this year. They're a new brand to the scene. The gentleman that owns Tremor Wheels helped start Method Race Wheels, helped start Vision Race Wheels. And through my whole career, I've been with him, and he's kind of brought me along to all the brands he switched to. Now he owns his own brand, and has given me, stake in that, and given me an opportunity to grow with that brand and help that brand grow. So really excited to be working this deal with Tremor Wheels and be showcasing the world what Tremor Wheels is and what they stand for and what they're about. So yeah, it's we've had several very good partners over the years that have been with us a very long time. Another one of those being Steel It. It's what all the SST trucks are painted in. The chassis are painted with Steel It.
Yep.
So yeah, we wouldn't have been able to build what's behind us without those partners and many years of successful racing, without them. So appreciate everybody.
All right, so just before we let you go, where can everyone find you on social media and your website? Just drop that, and then we're going to let you go back to work and, making your trucks back there.
Yeah, actually, once we get done here, I'm headed to the track, and we're going to run some laps tonight with Sheldon Creed in our micro sprints and have some fun. So we'll be out there shortly. But in the meantime, everybody can follow us and follow along daily as we keep our stories up to date and what's going on at Ryan Beat 51 on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So that, once again, is at Ryan Beat 51. The website, you can buy merch. You can kind of follow along with what's going on in the shop. And that's RyanBeatMotorsports.com or at Ryan Beat or RBM51.com. You can go to that as well. That takes you right to our website where you can pick up merch and whatnot. But I appreciate having me on, dude. I really look forward to having fun with you out in Long Beach.
See you in Long Beach.
We always have a good time at the races, and looking forward to getting you out here to North Carolina and putting you in an off-road truck.
Absolutely, we're going to do that. Well, everyone, this is Ryan Beat, champion race car driver, champion team owner, and just a one badass mofo. Take care, everyone.
Now let's shout.